How can I help my child during the pandemic? This is a question at the forefront of parents' minds the world round. Children's lives have been turned upside down by the pandemic. Their routines are anything but routine these days. With the disruption of school and a shift to remote learning, playdates with friends being cancelled, and other beloved routines such as after-school activities or visiting relatives on hold, regressive behaviours and difficulties managing emotions have become increasingly common in children. Regressive behaviours refers to difficulty with skills that your child may have formerly mastered, such as sleeping and toilet training. And difficulties managing emotions refers to how your child deals with and expresses strong feelings. This can manifest as an increase in temper tantrums in both younger and older children and even in teenagers. Consistency and predictability, which is something that children crave, have been more difficult to achieve during the pandemic. This can cause children to feel anxious and frustrated and can result in this type of behavioural dysregulation. It is important to be aware of this and to understand that it is a natural response to an unnatural circumstance. So what can we do to help our children through these difficult times? Today and over the next few videos, I'm going to share a number of tips that will help you help your child navigate their way through the pandemic. If you're interested, keep watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications so that you don't miss subsequent episodes. Hi and welcome back. My name is Dr. Fionaroche. Today we're going to look at a few things that you can do to help your children make it through the pandemic and come out the other side. So let's get right into it. Tip number 1. Take time to talk to your child about the pandemic. Remember, children also have questions about the pandemic that require age-appropriate answers that won't fuel the flame of anxiety. Answer any questions that they may have to the best of your ability and share some facts about the pandemic in a way that your child will understand. This can vary considerably depending on the age and the associated maturity and comprehension levels of your child. It is worth keeping in mind that in addition to discussing things, it also helps to role model. Show your children the things that they can do to be a part of the solution, that they have control over, such as hand washing and other health promoting behaviours. This will help them get a sense of control and personal agency. It may also be helpful to get them involved in, say, calling in on neighbours, family and friends to check up on them and make sure that they're okay in the form of, say, a telephone call or waving at them from outside the house depending on the level of lockdown. And that would be a win-win situation for all involved. Tip number 2. Be a good role model. Remember, children tend to model their behaviour on adults, especially during times of stress. It is more important now than ever to try to be a good role model. You can do this by looking after your own physical and psychological well-being first. It's kind of like the advice they give you on an airplane when they say, in the event of sudden loss of cabin pressure, secure your own mask first before assisting to others around you. It might seem a little bit selfish at first, but it really isn't. Think about it. If you attend to others first, you won't be in any fit state to help them properly if you yourself are running out of oxygen. And the same applies to self-care. So how can you look after your own health to be a good role model? Some ways include ensuring that you get enough sleep, that you eat healthily, that you exercise daily, that you drink plenty of fluids, and that you carve in some me time, say for example in the form of meditation, yoga, deep breathing, or a hot bath. I have a few videos on this that you may want to check out. You can find them in the pandemic playlist and in the descriptor below. Tip number 3. Give your children the reassurance that they are safe. Let them know that you understand their worries and that it's okay to be upset. This too shall pass, and you are always there for them. And with older children, this actually might be a great opportunity to learn about history and the remarkable resilience of the human race. Maybe have a chat about the Spanish flu pandemic in 1918 that primarily affected a younger age group, those aged between 20 to 40, who were looking after their own children and also their own parents, because at the time that's usually what they did. And that this happened during World War I, the Great War, the war to end all wars. Maybe this would be a learning opportunity for, history for World War I. And also during this time, if you impress upon them, during this time, vaccines weren't really an option. There was no hope. There wasn't that sense that, we have a strategy to get out of it. They were just doing their best. But that nonetheless, even in the face of this, what seemed to be a very hopeless situation, our great-grandparents came through it all the same. Tip number 4. Share how you deal with your anxiety with your children. Chances are, if it helps you, it'll probably help them. This might help them cope too. If deep breathing helps you, why not introduce your children to deep breathing techniques? But instead of saying, hey, I'm going to show you some deep breathing now, just say to them, well, this is petal breathing. Let's practice some petal breathing. And if you find yoga or meditation helpful, have a look around for kids yoga programs online and just be mindful, about looking for these things online, in terms of supervision, especially with younger children. I wouldn't leave them on their own, watching the internet. But I find that, say for example, Cosmic Kids is a good go-to yoga show for children. The other thing is, if a long, soapy, warm bath in the evening helps you, it'll probably help them too. And if your kids like milk, if they're not lactose intolerant, why not offer them a big cup of warm milk before bed? Milk contains a clever little protein called tryptophan that plays a role in regulating our hormone melatonin, that in turn regulates our sleeping patterns. So this will help give them a good night's sleep. And remember, sleep is good because it helps lower our stress hormones, specifically our cortisol, which is very elevated during these times, during the pandemic. So this will help them get to sleep and it will help lower those stress levels. Tip number 5, manage your children's exposure to the media coverage of the pandemic. Remember, your children could easily misinterpret what they hear or see on the television or online, and they could become frightened about something that they don't understand. For younger age groups, it might be a good idea to just leave watching the news until they're safely tucked away in bed fast asleep. And it's also a good idea to be mindful of your own exposure to the media coverage and to make sure that you are not spending too much time glued to the news. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. Join me next time where I'm going to share more tips on how you can help your child navigate their way through the pandemic. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to share your own experience of how you deal with the pandemic with your children, please share it in the comments below. Bye guys, and stay safe.